This is an OHUHU Sketchbook, but this doesn't feel like marker paper at all. Honestly, what is this? Is it the same marker? OHUHU, we need answers. Let's test it. I didn't expect this paper, seriously. Even though the paper doesn't feel right for markers, I still want to test it. Let's take a closer look at the sketchbook first. The paper is thick, but not smooth at all. Why does it have the double cover? Someone please tell me. I'm lost. There is also no information from the manufacturer. No paper type, no weight, no recommendations how to use the paper. How am I supposed to know what it's for? This paper reminds me of watercolor paper, but it is too thick for watercolor. And there are so few pages in the sketchbook. But truth be told, I actually took out 2 pages off camera because I just didn't plan to make a video out of it at first. It says notepad, spiral pocket notepad. Doesn't mean it's only for notes. Doesn't mean I can use it for drawing. But this is definitely an alcohol marker on the cover. This is soft chisel nib alcohol markers from OHUHU. OHUHU, we need answers. Anyway, let's draw some scribbles first. Drawing with markers in this notepad is actually kind of unpleasant. So the paper is super rough. It scrapes the nibs, if it makes sense. It really feels like the sketchbook wasn't made for alcohol markers. So the ink sinks into the paper super quickly. It doesn't feel like it was made for alcohol markers, as I said before, but I'm still not sure what it was originally made for. I think this is just my lack of art knowledge, so if you have any idea what this paper might be for, please let me know in the comments. I'm really dying to know. But going back to testing, it's interesting. So I have 2 colors here and those are different colors. I know that for sure, but somehow they look very similar on this paper. Okay, then let's test color pencils. I mean, ooh, I think the color pencils actually look better on this paper compared to alcohol markers. You can see how much tooth the paper has. It has texture, the surface is really rough. I'm so invested right now. Now I start thinking, okay, maybe this notepad just was never intended to be used with alcohol markers, and then maybe it's just, for notes, to be used with pens. So I prepared 3 types of pen here, so it's regular pen. Then I have some fountain pens here, so let's test. Okay, it's not even better, so it's not really comfortable writing with a pen. There is just too much texture. Okay, I really doubt it is intended for notes. And now let's try this fountain pen with a flexible nib. I typically use it for calligraphy, so let's see. Nope, I'm so confused right now. Again, OHUHU, we really need answers. Let me just show it a bit closer. As you can see, there is some feathering here. Oh, give me a second. Camera, please behave. Again, as you can see, there is some feathering, so the ink actually spreads. It doesn't really look good. Okay, I really doubt that it should be used for notes. Anyway, I know I wasn't really impressed with how my markers performs on this paper, but I still want to do a small illustrations, a small sketch. And since it's winter and everything is really grey outside and boring, I want to draw something sunny. I will be drawing a slice of melon. Just something colorful and bright. We need this desperately in the middle of the winter. These are the markers I will be using, so these are OHUHU markers. So if you want to follow along, I will leave all of the materials in the description box and also the picture with these swatches. It will be super, simple illustration, super simple drawing. That's why I will not be using a pencil sketch before that. But back to the story of this sketchbook, right, or notepad. I actually bought this notepad secondhand, as I said, and I buy art supplies secondhand quite often. Especially sketchbooks or, coloring books and also Copic ink. And most of the time, the materials are in really good condition, so I cannot complain really. For example, this one came like wrapped, still in its plastic and, packaging. It was obviously new. And I bought it together with some like ink refills and some Ohuhu markers. So I really, really thought it was for markers. And overall, with buying secondhand art supplies, I think I've only had like a couple of situations. Items were kind of worse than they were described in the ad. One time I bought Copic ink refills and, I refilled my markers and I realized that one of the bottles had the wrong cap on it. To be fair, I think it was just an honest mistake. I think someone just, like put the wrong cap by accident, so they probably didn't even know themselves. I had to buy like another refill, the one that I actually needed, so like wasn't a big deal. And another time was less pleasant. So another story that I had, so I bought a set of Copic classic markers, like secondhand also, and they were listed like as being in very good condition, right? And two of the markers were almost dry. So it felt like they had been slightly filled with, alcohol just to make a swatch for selling. Another marker had crystallized inside, they were like huge crystal buildups on the nibs. Of course, that was never on the pictures in the ad. It looked like the nibs had been cleaned for the sale, but the marker itself was really like, already damaged. In that particular case, most of the nibs were really dirty and very worn. I don't know, like maybe I just had so many good experiences that I didn't double check. I didn't, pay much attention as much as I should have paid. So I contacted the seller and I told them like, hey, I'm not really happy with the condition of the markers. This lady said, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know the real state of the markers because they were actually the markers of her child and she bought those markers for her kid. And this just didn't sit right with me. And, that experience was the only one that was like super frustrating because, to be honest, I really thought that the woman obviously knew the condition of the markers and there were like obvious signs they tried to hide the actual condition, like to make them more presentable. So I was a bit upset about that situation. Overall, I still trust secondhand art supplies, but yeah, you really sometimes get something weird. Just like this sketchbook. I mean, in this particular case, it's not a bad deal. It's just I don't know what to do with it. Yeah. I couldn't find the sketchbook on the OHUHU website. It doesn't seem to be sold anywhere right now. So my guess is that this might have been some kind of limited edition or maybe a gift sketchbook. In the meantime, I'm finishing my drawing and now I'm like 200% convinced this paper is not supposed to be used with alcohol markers. It's just, they don't behave their best and they don't perform their best on this paper. But if you're curious how these markers perform on proper paper, I made a separate video reviewing Ohuhu markers with soft chisel in it over here. You will see the icon somewhere here on the screen. Please be my guest. This is my best video so far. I'm quite proud of it. I hope you will like it. Anyway, just some final touches to finish the drawing. I think I still need to practice my lettering. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. And let's add some color pencils, just to define the edges a bit more. But you don't have to do that, so you can skip that part. And a bit of like white pencil just to add some highlights. Oh, by the way, let's check if the markers actually bled through the paper. Oh, they have not. Oh, that's really cool. Okay, so you see, I told you the paper is quite thick. I'm not sure how to wrap this video up. I actually quite like the drawing itself, so I like the melon, but I'm still super confused about the paper and about this notepad. So please, anyone, if you know how to use this paper, just let me know. Okay. Let me check once again. This is the same marker on the picture. This notebook is truly a mystery. And I really think it's not about the notepad or the sketchbook itself, but it's more of like my lack of knowledge about like this paper, this type of paper. So again, if you know how to use it, please do let me know, because I literally have no clue. And yeah, thank you so much for watching and for being here with me, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Ciao.